You do an intro or am I?
Uh, I will. Hello and welcome to Cash Furnace. Me, with my co host Eric Downs, we plan to become your go to source for crypto talk and stock market news. Today's podcast is the 21st. It's a Sunday for our Sunday drive. Um, we keep it pretty freeform here. Just talk about on our mind, how we did last week, maybe some upcoming moves for the week ahead. If you like what you see, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Maybe hit that notification bell. Share it to somebody who might learn something today. Eric, Sunday drive.
Sunday drive. Paulie, man, I'm looking, I'm looking forward to this week um, for a few reasons. But the biggest one is I want some closure on last week.
Okay.
Um, I want some, so last week,
I
we
think
saw
I know where you're going with this, but
yeah. I mean, we saw some turbulence last week. Growth
yep.
stock sold off. Market sort of lost some of its upward momentum. S&P kind of like started to dip down and test its test that what is it 390 I think it's at. Um yeah, at 390. It just kind of hovered there and it was turbulent all week sideways. And I think where we are from a technical standpoint, if I'm being totally honest, I have no idea, but the signs that I follow point more downward than they do
Mm.
upward, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I was gonna agree. My outlook is actually slightly pessimistic for the week ahead. I have a feeling Monday, Tuesday, we're gonna run hot, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're gonna go into next weekend with a pretty down. My idea of a general play of what's gonna um, kind of play out.
Interesting. I think
And the only reason why I'm thinking that is trading, at least retail trading, is hive mind, right? That's the more people that believe an idea is going to play one way, the more likely it is it's going to play that way, right?
sure.
So, I mean, that's uh, ideally what, or not ideally, that's literally what chart trading is based off of. When you
Mm-hmm.
see these patterns, right? Traditionally, you could say, okay, mathematically, it trades this way when it's in this pattern. But the more people that see that pattern and make a trade off that pattern, going positive or negative, the more likely it is going to trend in that direction, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
if it's a negative pattern, it's more likely that the price is going to go down if people think it's going to be negative, and vice versa. Obviously, there are a lot of caveats to that, but it just seems that everyone I talk to now, all of a sudden, is feeling bear market.
See, I don't want to say I don't think I can go so far as to say bear
Yeah,
market.
I think that was a misplacement, a bad choice of words. I would say correction is what they're feeling, but
I'm actually going to make the opposite prediction.
okay.
The exact opposite from you. I think early in the week, I think we're going to see I think we could see a sell-off taking us down to 385 or possibly even 380.
Okay.
But I think that'll be it. And I think it'll be over and then I think we're going to
Mm,
push higher next stop 400.
right.
Now the shitty thing about that is that my positions are not ready for that. My positions are let's go to 400 now.
Yeah.
Um and that includes our Albemarle play, that includes the Purple Challenge,
Mm,
and frankly a lot of my other longs. And it's going to be if that prediction is right, it's going to be painful
mm,
watching those positions just bleed for
agreed.
multiple days.
Agreed.
But knowing that they have long expirations and having to hold through them. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's what this is for. It's for us to bullshit and speculate and make random predictions and see who's right and who's wrong.
Yep.
So
So the only reason why I think we're gonna run a little hot Monday, Tuesday, is because we got an inkling of that on Friday, right? And towards the end of the day, it started trickling downwards again. And I feel like that pressure is there to see a nice little bump quick so everybody could feel that relief. And also I feel like a lot of the big money traders are feeling the same thing that you and I are feeling, and they want one last little bump to get their profit off the table, and then let this little correction that you and I are feeling happen.
Mm. Okay. Into that. I'm into that.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about, you threw a couple stocks at the group chat earlier today, what you're planning on
Mm.
playing tomorrow. So let me
Yeah.
hear some mindset about that. What's your
Let me,
justification behind those purchases,
let me,
especially if you think it's going to be red?
well, I mean, hey, if I'm smart and I think it's going to be red, I'm going to see how we open.
Hmm.
And frankly, even if we open good, I'm probably only going to scale into these positions. Um, because yeah, I mean, God knows when you're saying, oh my gosh. Wow, I just got hit out of left field with a what I like to call a stock yawn. Um, so what is on my list for this coming week? I'm looking at VUZI, PSTH, and FRX. Now,
Okay.
I want to go. Actually, I want to go in reverse with those. So FRX is the SPAC that's supposed to be acquiring Beachbody and Mix Fitness, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one other one, isn't it? Isn't it like a three-part one or something? Um, I don't know. It's funny because I know we discussed that in the chat, and I think the thread is largely bearish against FRX,
Yeah.
and um, I think you're the lead bear on that one.
That's, yeah. I would say that's completely correct. But it's good to see, because I'm just uh I guess a gym rat at this point, is so I have a very skewed perspective. That's the only thing that I fully realize I have, right?
Hmm.
Um, when it comes down to it, I 10 out of 10 times, without hesitation, would rather go to a gym and lift weights than do something like a Beachbody workout or a P90X or anything like that.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Um, so I have a very skewed perspective. I also happen to live, for those viewers that don't know, I live in Connecticut, and we had one of the most lax lockdowns out of almost every state except for the extreme ones like Florida. We were locked out of gyms, I want to say 2, maybe 3 months, and then we were instantly right back in. Restaurants were open pretty early, all of that. So I don't personally see a super high demand for in-home instructional videos, like you do, Eric, because you still can't go to the gym. It's been almost a year,
It's
right?
2 blocks away,
So,
and I'm not allowed to go.
so yeah, we have very contradictory viewpoints. So it's good just to have that debate in the general chat, because you see the people that would really need it or want it, and I'm like, what the hell do you even need it for?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
That's a very fair point. Um, and for what it's worth, I'll say this. I'll just make my stance clear to the viewers here. I don't see FRX. I don't see FRX's merger of Beachbody, which is again the people who produce P90X and Insanity, and I don't know, probably some other ones. Um, I don't see that. And Mix, by the way, Mix Fitness. I saw their ad during the Super Bowl, and I was just like completely underwhelmed
Yeah.
compared to Peloton, because
I
Peloton, like we've talked about, is basically feels like the Apple of
Yes.
fitness, and I agree with that assessment. I totally agree with that,
Mm.
100%. And I'm a Peloton fan because of it. Um, I just think that there is pie to be bitten
Mm.
in the space, because I don't think Peloton doesn't really have any competitors, man. Like no one else, they're doing it the best, but I don't even I can't even think of another company that's doing what Peloton is doing, you know?
There's one other company that is, God, I should know it because I get ads for it all the time. It's that wall-mounted resistance system, and it fits
Oh,
right in your home.
sure.
That I
Okay.
think is their greatest competitor right now. And if FX had or FRX had that particular product under their portfolio,
Yeah.
I would be with you on that. The biggest thing for me is Peloton has the equipment, and then on top of it, they have the software that keeps you locked in. And I actually think Apple's a very apt analogy to use because it's like when you get an iPhone, right? There's a million things that Android users can do better than an iPhone user.
Sure.
There's so many more apps, there's so much more customization, you get way better hardware. It doesn't matter to people though,
No.
because as soon as you open that iPhone, it's you instantly know how to use it. Everything's very user friendly. There's a ton, it's just very smart. Even the genius of making text conversations with iPhones blue, and then when you see anyone that doesn't have an iPhone, it's green and it automatically irritates you.
Hmm.
I was reading into it the other day, and they literally coded that on purpose, and they put one of the most um it's it's like appalling in your brain to see that shade of green. You don't like it as a human being. And they
Really?
coded that in, yes, to make people be like, ugh, this is an Android user texting me.
Wow, I'm surprised. I would think they'd want to make it like brown or something.
Yeah, I guess brown would be ugly too, but it's just there's something that's like it's why can't I think of the word? It makes you like revert and be like, I really don't like that.
I mean, that's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So,
So blue is very like welcoming, comforting, trusting, and something about green just makes people not like it.
man,
So they
that's funny. Okay.
so Apple, right, has this entire ecosystem that sucks you in. You could use it seamlessly between your computer, your laptop, your iPad, whatever. And Peloton is doing very much the same thing. And I feel like if you look at Apple in 2010 and you look at Peloton now, that's where Peloton is.
Yeah.
I think in the future they're just going to dominate damn near everything, every niche. They're going to come out with their own resistance thing. Just give it time. I mean, that's an inevitability, right?
I agree with you on that too.
Yeah.
So,
So where is what about this then is a bull case for you?
well, so I want to say that I don't find this to be like an insane like
Mm,
like how do I say, like a foam at the mouth kind of book, you know, like Dermatech is.
yeah.
But just I want to take a few factors into consideration. Um, you know, number one, Beachbody was like, you know, Beachbody is not the first home workout program there that has ever existed, but I think it's probably fair to say that they were one of the biggest ones, right?
Mm,
Um, they were up until recently. I mean, honestly, I actually can't think of a more recent one. You know, but they were like our generation's version of what, I don't know, Richard Simmons or Jazzercise or whatever
yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff was. I never knew what those things were, but like that was cool. Like that you know, that really lit up an entire a massive massive market of people. And I think that, you know, while the brand has died off for sure, I think that as soon as if they re-debut and, you know, say, all right, new program, and now we got gear to go along with it, you know, I just think there's potential there for them to bite at least a profitable amount of the pie. I'm not saying they're going to dominate. I don't think
Yeah.
they could ever overcome Peloton because Peloton's fucking great. But let me say this though, I'm on their site right now. A Peloton bike recently price slashed from 22.45. By the way, I can't help but wonder if that's in response to Mix. A Mix bike. Oh, sorry. It was 22.45. Now 18.95. So it's $1,900 for this bike. Okay, for a Peloton bike. The Mix bike, 1,300. Huge difference. Yeah, it's a fair difference. I think that's one of the things between, one of the comparisons between Apple and Android, because when it all first started, how do I say? Let me put it this way. When the smartphone rollout first started, and an Apple phone cost $600-700, and then obviously we know the prices got up over 1,000 at this point, and Androids would come out and they're $200-300. Like, Android got market share because the products were cheaper, right? And there is an entire class of people for whom they don't want the Apple product because it's too expensive, right?
Yep.
And we already know that the luxury market is an extremely profitable market. Like, that's a great market to aim after, because given the opportunity to pay for more for something, people will pay more for it.
Yep.
That's a proven thing as well. However, and to watch those markets evolve, I think has been interesting, because over time, even though Apple still does not have a dominant market share, people still see an iPhone as the icon of smartphone, and it's well known, like you said, that the user experience on an iPhone is just, it is what is desirable. It's the desirable experience. I think right now Peloton is delivering the Apple experience at the Apple Premium, but I think that I want to see what FRX debuts with, because like I said in the chat, if Beachbody, how do I say, the bike honestly is not going to be that much different. So the bike is already going to be cheaper. That's your cheaper Android phone. So now what it comes down to is the software and the user experience. Now, Peloton's user experience, I know, is very good. And I know, like I said, Beachbody only has to copy Peloton to be successful. Will they be able to do that? To be perfectly honest, I'm skeptical that they can. But if nothing else, I'm willing to ride the hype up until the day that the merger takes place.
Fair. That's fair.
Because I think that there are enough people out there who aren't analyzing it to the capacity with which we are, and saying like, oh, it's a new merger. Oh, it's fitness. Oh, that name, I'm on board. I think there's plenty of idiots who will do that. And for that reason, I'm willing to ride those idiots. I'm willing to hop on my surfboard and surf and hang 10 on the necks of idiots. How about that?
That's quite a quote.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what it is. The last thing I'll say is this, man. I don't know anything about any stats about Peloton's user base. I don't know anything about their profitability. I do know that Beachbody's user base is enormous, and they were massively profitable.
Yes.
So I don't know that that's worth anything going into this new era, but that's sort of where I stand with it. And for that reason, I'm willing to take at least a flyer on it, toss a little bit in.
That's fair. Let's get on to the next.
Oh, so the next one in reverse order is PSTH, which is Bill Ackman's SPAC, Pershing Square Tontine. So again, the running rumor that's it's been brewing for months now is that they're going to acquire Stripe. The speculation is that if they were to do that, it would be an overnight price change from 30 to 100.
Yeah.
But what I again find interesting, actually, this is a perfect segue, is watching CCIV. Now, CCIV, I know you know this, Pauly, but for our viewers who aren't familiar, CCIV is another SPAC. Oh gosh, I don't know if we need to explain what a SPAC is, but
no, we've done it before.
Okay, so a CCIV is heavily, consistently rumored to be acquiring Lucid Motors, which is supposed to be the next Tesla. Mm-hmm. We've talked about this in a previous episode. I don't think that's true, but that's neither here nor there. CCIV stock has gone to the moon already, or it's at least halfway to the moon, I think, at this point. And nothing is confirmed. Now, the rumor right now, I don't know if you heard this, is that the merger is set to be announced on Tuesday.
I did
You
see
d-
that.
I think
For
that could. I don't even know. I think that might even end up being a huge sell the news event. To be perfectly honest, I might cut half my position before Tuesday.
Well, if you look at the valuation, they originally were planning 12 billion in um in valuation for the company for that
Hmm.
acquisition. They just upgraded it on late Friday to 15 billion,
Oh my god.
which sounds like a really good thing, right? However, that means for every shareholder, because you get less for your stock the higher the valuation of the acquisition is, right?
Right.
So that means every share now is worth $10 less than it was when it was 12 billion.
Yeah.
So that actually in itself might actually cause a sell-off event. And I'm happy you brought it up because I wanted to bring that up um today just to kind of pick your brain about it. But there's also so much hype behind this company. I don't know. And that's why I'm taking no position on it. I'm
Well,
just going to see what happens and kind of let the chips fall where they may.
I mean, look, if I hadn't already been in it, I don't
Mm,
think I would get in it
yeah.
because it's so high off of, as we know, every pre-merger SPAC is the stock price is 100% literally driven by nothing but hype.
Yep.
It's cotton candy, dude.
Yep.
There's nothing, there's no substance to it. And so for that and I mean it's high as hell right now.
Yeah.
And um I mean honest I mean I bought in when it was like at 14 and change. So my thing is and I think it closed, it took a huge hit on Friday and I think it went down to like 55 or something,
Mm,
you know? So I think the prudent thing for me to do would be to probably on Monday sell half of my position and then just be happy with it because I'll be
right.
have more than my principal out,
Yeah.
and either that or I sell covered calls against it, which are
Right.
um, any merger valuation announcement could live up. How I don't see how the stock price could live up to any uh,
No, I
valuation
would agree with
announcement.
you.
Do you know
And
what I mean?
also a thing that would cause me I would argue caution if you were like I'm just going to ride this thing out to you is that this merger has taken so long. Like a
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous amount of time. Usually you get
Yeah,
rumors about a merger and then what, a month, 2 months later? Generally,
something like
this
that.
has
Yeah,
been going on for what, five?
yeah. It's
Yeah,
been a long time. Yep.
five, if not longer, months of just them twiddling their
Yeah.
fingers. And that would make me really nervous about the leadership behind this SPAC, right? You're in talks that early and it takes you this long to get it done. Why?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, for the same reason. So I think that's what I'm going to do with that position. Now, bring that back into the context of PSTH, and that's why I actually want to jump back in. So I, up until last Wednesday, I had a bunch of
Mm,
calls on PSTH, and I think I had sold some puts as well. Um, and I got out because there was a call on Thursday, and the speculation in the Discord that I'm in was that they wouldn't have a call to announce a merger. They would release a press release. It would be a thing that just comes out, says, Pershing Square announces official acquisition of Stripe or
yeah.
whoever it is. You know what I mean? But if there's like an investor call or whatever it is, an update that the big speculation was like that's not where they would
Right.
announce this thing. Now I don't know if that's true or not, but I got out of my position at a
Yep.
hefty profit right before it, and luckily, they didn't announce anything. And then on Friday, the market
Right.
knocked everything down. So I think it may have knocked down to about $30 a share, which I mean, you know, God knows if there's any
Dude,
fundamentals
I
or
don't think you
technicals that
can
really
off of
support
a SPAC.
SPACs, but no, I don't think so. But I think honestly, my psychology is that idiots think
Yeah,
30 is a nice round number,
yeah.
so they'll be happy to jump back in then. So I'm happy to jump back in and again ride the necks of 30 of ride the necks of idiots. Um, but I do want to be involved in that one because the Stripe rumors has been sitting there for so long. What I love is that the internet. I don't know if you've seen this, Polly, but almost every SPAC
Oh
has
yeah,
its own subreddit
100%.
these days.
Yes,
Okay,
it's
you've seen this.
ridiculous.
And everyone piles into these subreddits and they do a miniature version of Wall Street
Yep.
Bets. And they act as a mini hedge fund that has tens of thousands of members. And all they do is they use every pair of eyes they have and they look in 360 degrees. These people are digging up LinkedIn records, freaking high school graduation records. They're looking
Yep.
at Twitter followers, did all sorts of filings all day long, and I'm like, this is so brilliant. All of these people are just scraping
Yep.
the internet manually and doing detective work all day long, and then they post it for me.
So can I?
It's great.
No,
So-
go ahead, and then I'll get into it.
That's what it is. So the more they dig, and yes, it's confirmation bias. They're finding what they want to find, but I also trust that. To be perfectly honest, I would actually trust that if they found something that made the case against Stripe, I
Yeah.
feel like they would share it. I can't guarantee that, but I've found that in my experience, I feel like that's how the internet actually does work. Is they don't mind sharing it all if they've done the work and put in the time and the effort. If they find something to the contrary, then maybe they'll say, "Hey guys, I found this. I'm not sure. Maybe
Yeah.
this doesn't say Stripe, but everything they found so far says Stripe."
So I've
so
I just
taking
wanted
a
to
flyer.
say, so one of my investment strategies for alts a while ago, back in the old bull run of 2017, was I would look at prominent new promising projects, right? And I'd have a list of them. And then I would go on Reddit and I would see how big their subreddits were. And if they were large subreddits, I would scroll through them, see if the people were really that hyped, see what promising projects they saw in the future, and if there was enough hype about them without anything else other than I know they have decent fundamentals, a decent team, and a big subreddit, I would buy in. And it was actually quite profitable for quite a while. So
Wow.
this could be
I don't doubt it.
the new version of that, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, and yeah. So look, there are so many SPACs out there, but I lean on the internet just like you, Paulie. Like I lean on the internet to be my filtration system. When I'm in the handful of discords that I'm in with the people who are researching this stuff 24 hours a day, I look for the ones that all of the insider discorders are hawking, because I don't want to get into something I know nothing about. I want to get into something that someone dug up details on and said, "Holy crap, I think this is amazing.
Yeah.
Here's why I think this." I'm like, "Great, thanks for doing the research.
Yep.
I'll take a flyer. One flyer, please." And that's it. And yeah. So PSTH is one of
Well,
those.
I think you brought up a good point, because the internet now, right? You and I have harped about how a trading network, like growing your network of people that are into this space, is a really good thing to have, to bounce ideas off, to get new ideas, to look in spaces you've never even thought about before, and become more profitable from it, benefit from that relationship in every way. And the internet has essentially made your network unlimited, right?
Yep.
I mean, granted, there's a lot of chatter you have to kind of comb through in order to get to the really solid signal, right? That good signal that you want. But once you tune in, if you know the general principles of what you're looking for, if you understand the fundamentals of trading, and you could see someone makes a good argument for or against the stock for whatever reason, you then can decide to jump in, and it could be something that you never even heard the ticker of.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly
Yep.
it. Yep. That's my
Nothing wrong with
strategy.
it. Nothing wrong with it.
So now the last one on the list, as I mentioned, was VUZI. And funny enough, VUZI is I'm learned about from the exact strategy that you just said, Paulie. I don't really know what they do or about anything about their fundamentals. I know they make smart glasses, okay? And it seems like they are very much geared towards, like, how do I say, commercial use smart glasses rather than, like,
Yeah.
Google Glass, like, what, um they seem to be used for, like, manufacturing, the medical
Interesting. Okay.
field, things like that. Yeah, I mean, they're photos of,
I
like,
was
hey,
just
I'm a
about to
surgeon
say
and I'm, like, cutting into this person.
in medicine that could be huge.
Right. So, that's a lot. That's a lot of sort of I think what they're aiming for. Um, but to be honest, I don't know anything about their fundamentals. I haven't even looked that deep, but I'm using the exact strategy we just said, and that's this. This past week, one of the sources that I follow is this like a monstrously good trader named Jonah Lupton. And he's on Twitter as Lupton Capital. You should follow him. He does hardcore digging, writes up huge reports, and trades off of it. And he shares his portfolio and updates it
Yep.
every single day. And I'll be damned if all his picks aren't amazing. And they're so amazing that Chamath Palihapitiya has hired him to manage one of his funds at Social Capital. I think the proof
Yeah.
is in the pudding on this guy. So he makes these calls. If you look at his portfolio, you look at the performance of the stocks in his portfolio, it's jaw dropping. He's up 128% year to date. Yes, that's 1.5 months. He's up 128%.
Ridiculous.
I know. And even I know I've mentioned this to the group, but Chamath even like replied to one of his tweets saying, like, this is
Yeah.
insane. This is absolutely insane performance. And to the fact that you even did this, not even within a year,
month and
but
a
within
half,
a month,
dude. What?
a month and a half is crazy.
Wow.
So anyway, VUZI is one of the stocks that he tweeted out and said, like, I have a big
Yeah.
conviction in this one. And so naturally everyone who follows him says, cool, VUZI, say no more. And I will admit that I said that. On Friday, as our queen always does, she releases her trades. Our queen Kathy Wood. She releases her trades, and what do we find on her trade ledger?
Yep.
VUZI. Yes, more research is necessary. But I'm actually going to wait for Jonah to publish his report first, because to be perfectly honest, the guy does amazing research, and he does better research than I do. I would actually love to learn to research as good as he does. But until I'm that good, I'm happy to read what he does. And like we always say, follow the whales.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
So those are my trades. Those are my trades for starting on Monday. And yeah, that's my
I like
plan.
it. I like it a lot. So,
What about you, Paulie?
a couple things. One is kind of a just general idea I heard about in the crypto sphere, which actually makes a lot of sense to me. And another one is I want to talk to you about Texas right now in actually potentially making some profitable trades off of it. I don't know, or potentially making some profitable trades in the future off of a similar situation, because we've lost the window of profitability in my mind. So I guess we'll start with Texas, and we'll end with crypto as we usually do. So for those of you that don't know, and I don't know if you know this, Eric, they are claiming that this is going to be the most expensive natural disaster ever. So what happened in Texas is people lost electricity, right? And in Texas, because they generally don't have freezing temperatures, it only happens once in a blue moon. What they do is in the house, they have natural sensors that will circulate the water supply should it drop below, I don't know, 38 degrees. And that works for pools, which many people have in Texas. It works for the home, etc. Now, one of the problems with Texas was they had massive, massive rolling power outages. People have been without power now for over a week.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have those power outages, what can't happen? Those sensors aren't on. The water can't circulate. It was also freezing cold. So there are pipes flooding everywhere. People's houses are getting severely damaged. Their pools, their pool equipment are ruined. So everything's going to be in extremely short supply. We're talking about over hurricane, was it Sandy that flooded Houston? No, it wasn't Sandy. It was oh my god, I should know this. The last hurricane that flooded Houston caused $19 billion in damage. They're saying
okay.
$19 billion isn't even going to come close to this because it's not in one area like Houston. It's across the entire state of Texas, and everyone, every single person is having this problem in multiple places. People that own pools and houses are going to have to replace all of their pool equipment. They have to get all the pipes in their houses fixed. I mean, we're talking massive supplies, and they haven't even fixed the power problems yet. So, we see a disaster like this, people say, "Okay, how can I make money off this?" You saw major pool, publicly traded pool companies go up. Those that manufacture pool equipment, they went up. Those that just general home repair services in those areas, they went up. So my question to you is, Eric, because these guys ran like 60%, and they're large companies, multi-million-dollar companies. It takes a lot of capital to get them to run that high, but people know their profit margins are going to be out of this world right now, right?
Sure, sure.
My question to you is, these happen very infrequently, right? Thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can spot it and if you're actively looking for it, you could become massively profitable out of such a bad situation. As
Sure.
kind of shitty as that sounds, it's just taking advantage of the market that's at hand, right? Do you
Sure.
think it's worth your time, worth our time, to scrape for ideas like this when you see incoming weather that might be a little worse than normal? Because nobody saw this 1-2 punch coming, right? This is a once
Right.
in 100-year event.
So, are you asking if I think it'd be
Would you
worth our
consider it
time?
worth it to check weather patterns, look at like cold fronts and potential intersections of the two, where maybe not even cold fronts, just weather patterns and general trends to try to profit off of climate disasters, essentially?
Personally, are you asking my personal
Yeah.
opinion? I would say no.
Okay.
You want to know why?
Yes.
Here's why. I don't think. I think the reason is exactly what you just said. No one saw this coming. You know, you could have an expert meteorologist saying for a week in advance, 2 weeks in advance, whatever. I don't know, dude. A massive storm is incoming, and I don't think you could necessarily predict the extent of the damage that we're seeing in
I would
Texas.
agree. Even hurricanes, right? All the time. They say, okay, this is going to
Right.
be a category 6. It's going to hit right here, and then it turns off, and it's only a category 2, and it doesn't even hit land.
Right. And well, so I mean that, but I also mean everything you said right at the onset, where you said this has been basically a cascading problem, where when power went out, sensors went out, and then basically home self-regulation devices went out, pipes blowing, like you said, everything you said.
Right.
I don't think I think that even if someone said, "Oh man, I can literally see a storm on the horizon, a snowstorm coming, and everything it's been covering so far has just been getting destroyed with snow." I think even if you saw that coming, you wouldn't be able to speculate, "Wow, pools are going to benefit from this because the
Right.
pools are going to get fucked up." You know?
Well,
I think
that would just be having knowledge in the now, right? So maybe what one of the better things would be is to almost peruse again, Reddit, great thing. When there's a natural disaster, a significant event happening in history, where's the first place that news gets posted?
yeah.
Reliable
Well,
news from firsthand users. Reddit.
well, Paulie, I have to ask. I have to ask you a question.
Yeah,
Now, I know you're a fan of Dumb Money, aren't you?
I am.
So Dumb Money is a Discord and podcast, and Dumb Money put out a video on this,
You're
right?
kidding. No, I did not.
Oh my gosh! If you Google Dumb Money right now, top hit's going to be Winter Storm Stock Trades, largest insurance claim event in history.
Okay.
I assume that's where you got this
No,
info
no,
from
it's good
because
to
I know
know
you love those
I'm on the
guys.
same I'm on the same wavelengths as major players like that.
Yeah. So in their podcast, they talk about lumber liquidators. They talk about pool. They talk about pools like you did.
Mm.
Um, but obviously, with the title of their video, largest insurance claim event in history.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't watch the video. I'm literally scrubbing through it and looking at screenshots. I should watch it. It's an hour long. Maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I won't. But I think to our point, I think it's really great actually, dude, that all of our points have really kind of tied into this overarching framework that the internet is the best is I don't know if it's the best, but it's an amazing crowdsource for stock market for market research.
I agree.
So with these guys having gone through and done this analysis and had this discussion already, if their big hunch is insurance companies, so much that they titled their video off of it. I assume this is really bad for insurance companies.
Yes.
I
And I
assume
don't
this is
know
an
I don't know if you
insurance
know
short.
this, but insurance companies also have insurance companies.
I didn't know that. Can you educate me?
There are well, it's the same exact thing. So insurance companies will buy insurance for a major natural disaster event because they only keep so much capital on hand, right? I think it's somewhere in like the 60% that they could actually pay out at once, dependent upon how much the disaster costs. But they will, even bigger insurance companies insure insurers. It's kind of wild to think about, but
Wow. So who insures an insurer? Do you know? Are these
I
companies
have
we've
not
heard
dug
of?
that deep because so I've thought about insurance before years ago when I was thinking about it was one of the natural disasters. It was Sandy. That's why Sandy was on my mind. When Sandy hit the East Coast, right? A lot of homes in Connecticut got absolutely hammered. And if you look in Fairfield County area, almost every single new house that's getting built is up on these giant stilts now, like 8 feet in the air. Or insurance is paying them to literally take a regular house off of its foundation and lift it 10 feet up in the air. It's wild to see. But this has been going on for years now. Sandy was years ago, and it's still getting paid out. So I'm like, wow, this must cost the insurance company millions. I wonder how much money you could have made off of shorting the stock beforehand if you had a general idea of what was going to happen. And dude, the complications of just trying to figure out if an insurance company is going to be profitable, like how much insurance claim is actually going to hit them, it's all way beyond what I can gather. It's like investing in big pharma. You have to spend so much time diving into every little nuance of insurance or big pharma to even get an inkling of understanding where this company is going to go. It's just not. I'd rather put my time in other profitable trades.
So you know what? I want to bring it back around to your original question, and
Yeah.
that's actually why, um, that's actually why my answer was no, because like you just said, you have to become a specialist so fast,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I saw this video that these guys who have a great reputation and make good trades, if I saw a video from them saying largest insurance claim event in history, I'm inclined to believe them, honestly, but I don't know what the trade is. And even if I did, even if I'm going to short Allstate, I'm going to short Nationwide, whatever it is, I don't know. Um, I wouldn't know on the surface that insurance companies have insurance companies.
Yeah.
And that can completely change the dynamic of how it affects their stock.
Yep.
And I don't want to become have to become an expert in something that quick.
Right.
I'd rather slowly become an expert at something over time
Mm-hmm.
and just get really good at that one thing.
That makes
And
sense.
to that point, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
You know,
I would.
I'm not I don't even know that I'm an expert in anything.
Jack of all
But
trades.
yeah, unfortunately, you know, I'm not a crypto genius like you.
I wouldn't call
Um,
myself that either. But good shoe in. So, speaking of, actually, this is just a good general theme. So, speaking of internet and getting ideas from other people, uh, one of the really good crypto traders that I follow posted an idea on a chart, and it was of Bitcoin basically rising up with a couple of small pullbacks all the way up to 200K and a quick drop down to 100, back up, blasting past 200K to like 250, 300, and then really sinking down, seeing the big 60, 70% correction.
hmm,
So his theory is this. As we know, the US still hasn't created an ETF for Bitcoin, right? We actually covered that in news segments,
yeah.
I don't know, a couple weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
And everybody's kind of scratching their head because their reasoning was we needed to show more viable value, more stability, more of an ability to be a real investment and not just speculation before we make it an ETF.
Hmm.
Now, also, if you watch our channel, last week we talked about how a Canadian based Bitcoin ETF was created and how that fund has been getting so many calls they physically cannot keep up right now with the orders.
Hmm.
And that was actually, some speculate, the reasoning behind the past like $5,000 to $7,000 jump. Now, his idea is that the reasoning that the New York, or I'm sorry, the reasoning that basically the United States doesn't want an ETF is that they're waiting, big money is waiting for this thing to really peak, to get it to the point where people think this is running away and it's never going to fall. And then they're going to finally create the ETF, allow people to throw their money in for one last ride up, and short the shit out of it.
Wow.
Which I thought was A, not really anti Wall Street type of move, right? That's a very
Yeah.
Wall Street move.
Yep.
And B, a very interesting thing to think about.
Hmm. Boy, I
So,
agree.
yeah, I do too. That's kind of the scary thing, right? And by doing that, they also, they're after that, can take a lot of the trust that people are gaining of this monetary system right
Yeah.
now and completely wipe it out.
Yeah.
which would
Damn, that's
be which would be a government 1-2 punch and a Wall Street extreme profitability for, I mean, they'd talk about that play for years. For years. Could
yeah.
you imagine shorting a stock from 200, 250K all the way down to like 30 or
Oh,
50?
Paulie, is this something you would act on?
I Might. I'm keeping it in my mind. So I think I told you a couple days ago that I'm not even thinking about making a move until we hit like 75, 85 range, right?
Okay.
That's where I think the next sort of relevant correction is going to be, where we might see a bit down. However, I've been wrong a decent amount in this bull market, right? Because Bitcoin has pulled that honey badger status and just doesn't give a fuck and moves up, moves on up.
Yep.
However, if we do hit that rate and it's just, we've had no correction at all, it's just overdue. It'll be no different than when we hit 40K, right? We knew something was going to happen. At that point, I was like, it's going to be a couple of weeks. Let me move around a little bit and just wait. And it sucks because it was at like 38 at that point, and then it jumped all the way back up to like almost just under 42, and I thought I fucked up again, and then it dove all the way down to 30. So my plan is, I think, dependent upon how fast we skyrocket to 75, 85K range, is to take a little bit off the table there. Maybe 10%. And then if I'm wrong, I'm not killing myself. If I'm right, though, that 10% can turn, if we have another 30% correction, 20% correction, that 10% can turn into 14%, on the way back up. So
True.
It's those small moves that net you money in the end.
So, Paulie, how can our viewers, including me, who trust you as their crypto Sherpa, how can they make sure that they have the most up-to-date information and know when the Sherpa's making a move?
Oh, it's funny you should ask, because it'd be really convenient if there was this news source, right, that would come on every single day, tell you what was happening in the crypto and stock markets, give you updates on their viewpoints, wouldn't it? Oh, wait, that's us. Oh, my God.
Us.
So, people, you know what to do. Follow us. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. You'll know instantly as soon as we go live, and I'll tell you straight up what I'm doing without a problem.
That's what we need. That's what we need. Folks, you heard it here.
With that, unless you have anything else to add, Eric.
No, I think this has been a great Sunday drive.
I agree. I bid everybody good night. Good luck in the upcoming week. Thank you for watching Cash Furnace. And until next time.
We'll see you.
We're out.